So let's start with the relationships today. Yesterday we saw about how to yesterday we saw about how to uh, create an object, field, application, tabs for that object, and create a link between your application and object. And then finally we saw certain things like data types, field dependency, okay, in field. So all these are basics of Salesforce. So yesterday we saw about how to create one object. With only one object, you cannot uh, do anything in Salesforce. Or hope you know, right? In sales process itself, there will be many objects: campaign, lead, account, contact, opportunity, and it would be each object will be related to each other. One account can have many opportunities. One account can have many contacts. One opportunity can have many opportunity products. For one product, you will have many price points. In this way, objects will be related, interrelated among each other to bring in the business process and to bring in the business process effectively inside your application. For that, you need relationships. So that is what is being explained in this section, relationships in Salesforce. So the simple definition would be relating two or more objects in Salesforce.
Ganesh, your recording.
Yeah, recording. I have started the recording. Yeah. And conversion is in process, and by today or maximum by tomorrow I'll be able to share that in the drive. So relationships related to or more objects in Salesforce. And there is a thumb rule in Salesforce relationships which says that when you're creating relationships, always you have to do it from child to parent. So if you are creating it, for example, if you're creating there are two objects, there are two objects called A and B. And if you're creating a relationship from A to B, A would be your child and B would be your parent. And the vice versa also as applicable. If you are creating a relationship from B to A, then B is your child, A is your parent. Okay. So this is about your relationships. And in relationships, you have four different types of relationships: lookup, master detail, many to many, hierarchical relationships. Okay. So we'll be seeing in depth about each and every type of relationship, and then we'll move on to practically how to implement relationships in Salesforce. Okay. So first we'll start with lookup relationship. In lookup relationship, yes, sir. this would be the differences between your lookup and master detail. First, we will see about lookup and master detail, and then we move on to sorry. Then we move on to the remaining types of relationships. Okay. Lookup, if you see, it is loosely coupled relationship, whereas your master detail is tightly coupled. Both your lookup and master detail are many-to-one relationship. See here, both lookup and master detail, it is a many-to-one relationship. If it is both are many-to-one, then why we need a lookup and master detail, right? So there are certain differences, and based on these differences, when the requirement comes, you could fit your requirement in either in lookup or in master detail. Most of the scenarios in the BRT, in the business requirement document itself, they would tell very clearly whether you will have to place a lookup or master detail. But in worst scenarios, a developer has to choose between the lookup and master detail. So in what scenarios or in what instances he will choose the requirement to fit in lookup or master detail is based on these differences. So these differences have to be kept in mind when he is creating relationships in Salesforce. This is useful for your interviews, for your certifications, and in real time also. As I said, both lookup and master detail are many-to-one relationship. The differences, if you see, lookup is loosely coupled and your master detail is tightly coupled. The next difference is in lookup, having a parent is optional. A child can have a parent or cannot have a parent. Even without a parent, you can start creating a record. But in master detail, if you see, every child should have a parent. It will not allow you to save the record if the child is not having a parent. Okay. Next, if you see, deleting parent, it will not delete child. Whatever I'm saying here, it is based on records. Okay, deleting parent in the sense on the parent record, on the parent object, there will be some records, right? So if I delete any record, the child record will not get deleted. Where in your lookup relationship, the opposite happens in your master detail. If you delete the parent, automatically the child records will get deleted. Okay, we will see in practical so that when we are doing that, you will have a better understanding. For now, let's look at the differences alone. Okay, then the next difference would be security and sharing concepts, which I said like I would be explaining in a separate session. So here in lookup, child can have a separate security and sharing. The parent can have a separate security and sharing. Okay, it is optional, like whether the both parent and the child can have same, but it is not mandatory. But in the case of master detail, both your parent and the child, they will have security and sharing same. Or the security and sharing child, it will be automatically inherited from their parent automatically. It will not, the system itself will not allow you to create separate security sharing for child. But if in the case of lookup, it will allow you to create separate security and sharing. So this is another difference. And from one particular object, you can create up to the max of 25 lookups. Master detail, from one object, you can create max 2 master detail relationships from one object to another object. This is the max. Apart from this, you would not be able to create any more. Okay, these things are the main differences between your lookup and master detail. Okay. Next, we will see one real-time business example for both lookup and master detail. Okay, let's assume like we have two objects, products and orders. Okay, and under products we have various products which you are storing it in a warehouse and then selling Nokia, Moto, Lenovo, Asus. And this order object is going to have all the order related details of the customers which they have placed with your company. Invoice number 001, 002, 003, 004. These two objects, they are in a relationship. And if they are in a relationship, if it is going to be in a lookup relationship, then it is. If they are in a lookup relationship, it would be an ideal solution or feasible solution for this scenario. Why would they be in a lookup? Why can't be a master detail if you see? Look at the products which they have, Nokia, Moto, Lenovo, Asus. Okay. So they are manufacturing these products and they are selling it to the customers. So all the product related details will be placed in this particular object. Think of like from today, Nokia is no more. They are not selling, they are not buying and selling Nokia phones. Okay, but till yesterday, would have placed orders and they would have bought their mobiles, right? So if they are in lookup, after this, they are not going to produce any more Nokia phones. So if they delete this particular product, okay, if they delete this particular product, the orders will not get affected. The orders will not get affected where in lookup relationship. Because why? Because what I said, deleting parent will not delete child. Okay, Nokia company, Nokia company is no more. After this, the company is not going to manufacture and sell Nokia mobile. But till yesterday, customers would have placed orders for Nokia and they would have bought the product. So what if like tomorrow those customers come back and asking for servicing or for asking for spare parts? At that scenario, the company or the business needs to maintain the order related details of the customers who have bought Nokia products. But now it is not mandatory for the system to have the related details of Nokia product in product object. Why? Because like after this it is not useful over there. So if these two objects are in lookup relationship, if at all if you even if you delete the parent, it is not going to affect your child related records. Okay. So in this scenario, lookup relationship would be ideal. So on what basis we took on this scenario? Another way, if it had been in master detail, if at all if this had not been in lookup and if we have chosen master detail, then once you delete Nokia, all the Nokia related orders will get deleted. Okay, whatever orders that were created with the Nokia product as parent, all those related orders would get deleted if these both objects were in master detail relationships. So while if the orders are getting deleted, then the customer come back, there is no confirmation like the product has been bought from you, like those situations will arise. So to avoid that, for this scenario, it is better to have lookup relationship between products object and orders object. Okay, this is one real-time example for your lookup. Next, if you see another example for real-time example for master detail. So here we will see about two objects, but let's assume order on items. Okay, let's assume like we have two objects called order and order items, and order, in one order you can have one item or a group of items, right? When you're placing an order in an e-commerce website, in one order itself you can have many items or only one item. So the same way, let's assume like in one invoice there are so many order items are there. So to have a separation between an order and order items, they have kept it as separate object. Now, when we consider this scenario, in this situation, if at all if these both have been in master detail, that would be more ideal and feasible rather than in lookup. Okay, why these should be in master detail? Think of like a customer has placed an order with these items. Okay, and even before it is getting delivered to his place, he is changing his mind and he is thinking of like cancelling the order. So if he cancels the 001 order, automatically he is cancelling the order itself, right? Then it is the order items under that particular order is not required, correct? That can also go off. So if at all if these both objects had been in master detail, if these both had been in master detail, then if you delete one particular parent order, automatically the child order items will get deleted based on this difference. Deleting parent will delete child. Okay. See, the customer has the customer has requested to not to have the order itself. So the order items under that particular order can go on. So automatically once the representative deletes the order invoice, automatically all the items under the particular invoice or the order also will get deleted. So under this scenario, these both objects can have a master detail relationship, which would be more feasible and ideal. Alternatively, also, what if like you could ask like what if like if the customer is requesting to have only one item to be deleted from the list of items, that is also possible. If you don't want one item to be delivered, you can cancel that alone, and it is not going to make any impact on parent because you are doing it in child. Order item is child. From order item only you are creating a relationship to order. So order item is your child and order is your parent. Okay, so deleting any records in your child will not have any impact on your parent. If you are doing any alterations in your parent, that will have an impact on your child. Deleting parent only will delete child. Okay, so you could cancel one item from your parent child objects, and that is not going to have any major impact on your parent. So under this scenario, you could have master data relationship between order and order items. Again, all your real-time e-commerce companies, they are having only this kind of relationship. They would be having this kind of relationship in the back end, whatever the CRM or whatever platform in which the application has been developed in the back end, they would be having. So in between products and orders, you could have a lookup relationship, and in between your order and order items, you could have your master detail relationships. Okay. So I have said what is lookup relationship, what is master detail, what is the difference, and a real-time example with a real-time business scenario with business justification stating in which scenarios you would put in lookup and which scenarios you could put master detail. Right now, another real-time business scenario example wherein which I would give the scenario, and can you suggest or guess which type of relationship would be suitable? Okay. So I am giving another. So let's assume like that you are developing an application, HR application, and there are three objects: employee, PF, and payslip. Three objects are there, and there is a relationship between employee and PF. The employee object is going to hold all the employee-related details. The PF object is going to hold the PF-related details of the employee, and your payslip object is going to have the payslip-related details of your employee. So this would be your parent object. Employee is the parent object. there is a relationship between PF and employee, and there is another relationship between payslip and employee. Okay, I could not. Okay, there are three objects: employee, PF, and payslip. Employee is the master, which is going to hold all the employee related details. There is a relationship between PF and employee, and there is a relationship between payslip and employee. So, in this scenario, which relationship can have lookup and which relationship can have master detail? Whether both relationship can have lookup or both relationship can have master detail, or one lookup and one master detail, uh, give your suggestions and with a business justification. Nilata, are you there?
Yeah, Ganesh.
Yeah.
So employee payslip is a master detail
Okay.
because employee will always get paid, right?
Okay.
Or maybe not. I don't know. Maybe just look up. Maybe the employee is currently not working.
Okay.
In that case, it's optional, right?
Okay. So you are saying employee and payslip master detail.
Look up. I mean, it could be look up if, because there might be employees who are on vacation. I mean, on leave or something, right?
Okay.
No pay leave, or they are not working at currently, or
Okay. Okay.
it depends. I mean, how the employee is set up, right? I mean, if the employee leaves company, the
Okay.
record will be still there, right? So, but there won't be any pay slip, right?
Yeah. So employee and payslip you are saying lookup.
Yeah.
Okay. Then employee
What is the other one?
employee and PF
What is PF?
provident fund will
What does?
provident fund will say here. Like
Oh, that.
it is like
Yeah, that should be master, right? Master detail.
master detail and the justification.
Because I think it's mandatory, right? Every employee will get. I'm not sure about the business. So
Okay. Okay.
if it's
Okay.
mandatory, then it's master.
Oh, okay. In India, if you see like for every employee, they'll have a portion of their salary. The company will detect as their PF. There will be a PF component.
Yeah.
They'll detect that. So,
Okay.
I'll tell like the whatever you have said is the reverse actually. So employee payslip it should be in master detail, and employee PF could be in lookup. I'll tell the business justification. When you're creating an application, always you will have to think from the business perspective and company perspective, because we are going to develop an application for the company only. So if we think of the company, if you see, the company needs to have this PF details forever. Even if the employee leaves the company, the PF details of the particular employee needs to be maintained by the company as long as the company is there. Because at any point of time, from the government, the PF commission, they would come for an audit and check for the PF related details. So for that, the company needs to have the PF related details. So as we said, employee is the parent. Even if you the company, let's assume that the employee is exiting the company, so if his details would be deleted, right? So even if the employee details are getting related, whatever PF amount that has been paid to him by the company needs to be maintained, even though he is not anymore with the company. So for that scenario, so in this scenario, deleting parent should not delete child. So employee and PF could be in lookup. But in payslip, if you see, a payslip is required only for the employee. So wherever he goes to whichever company he goes, the future employer he will ask for payslip. The payslip to the employee only and not the company. So if these two are in master detail, even if the company, if the employee exits the company, soon after the details are deleted, the payslips also will get deleted.
Oh,
Okay. So employee and payslip could be in master detail, and the employee and PF could be in your lookup relationship. So this is another real-time business scenario. So this is only we will be achieving in practical when we are seeing how to do it in our org. Yesterday we created one object called employee rate. So today we will create one object called PF and payslip, and we'll try to create a relationship from this object to this object using lookup, and this object to this object using master detail, and we will see how it is handling the relationships and how it is affecting all when you're creating child, and how security and sharing concepts and all other things, how it is making an impact on your child. All those things we will be seeing in practical once we finish with the full overview of the relationships. Okay. So far we have seen about lookup and master detail. So these two are the primary relationship types in Salesforce. Most of the business requirements, maximum 90% of the business requirements, you could fit in these two. Okay. The next scenario is your many-to-many relationship, which is a rare business scenario, which will be used very hardly only. Okay. The fourth one is hierarchical. This is again a special kind of lookup relationship of the on the user object alone. It is possible. Before that, we will see about many-to-many, and then we'll move on to hierarchical. Okay. Next type of relationship is your many-to-many relationship. So why the need for many to many? I told both your our lookup and master detail as many to one relationship, correct? Many child and one parent. What if like there is a scenario in which you are being asked to create many to many relationship between two objects? You will have to create many to many relationship. For example, one case can have many solutions. For one solution, you can have many cases. Okay. For this kind of scenario, how to achieve a many-to-many relationship in Salesforce? So it is possible using junction object. Till yesterday, we would have seen the object types as standard object, custom object, and external object. Yesterday I would have said. So there is a fourth kind of object called junction object, which would be asked in your interview certifications, and wherever you go, they might ask this. So have you heard of a junction object? So what is a junction object in Salesforce? It is actually a custom object, and if the object is going to have two master detail relationships with any other two objects, you call that object as a junction object. Okay. So here if you see, I told from one object you can create maximum of two master detail relationships, correct? So a custom object which is going to have two master detail relationships to any other two objects, we call that as a junction object. And using that junction object will act as a middleware between these two objects to have that many-to-many relationship. Okay. In this scenario, we can only imagine. You can in lookup and master detail, we could visualize how the relationship has been set up. But in the case of many to many, we could only assume and we could only imagine. Once we have a custom object with two master detail relationships related to these two, then these two would be in many to many relationships. Now in this scenario, let's assume like cases is there. Cases you would have seen, right? In Service Cloud, it is a cases is a standard object. Solutions is another standard object. By default, one-to-many relationship would have been established by Salesforce. Now, what if there is a requirement from the customer stating like they wish to have a many-to-many relationship between cases and solutions? Okay, in this scenario, how to achieve that? Now, to achieve this, we need to have one junction object. So, what is a junction object? It is again a custom object. So, we are going to create one custom object called bugs. Okay, this is a custom object which we have created. So from this object, I am going to create one master detail relationship to cases. Okay, one master detail to case, and one more master detail to your solutions. So from this is a custom object. From this custom object, I am creating one master detail relationship to cases and another master detail relationship to solutions. Okay, so this bugs, what I said, an object with two master details uh, to any other two objects is a junction object. So from this object, I'm creating two master detail, one to cases and another to solutions. So this bugs will act as a junction object. Once we create this kind of relationships, automatically your cases and solutions will be in many to many. That we have to imagine. To confirm, if you see, if you go and check in cases, you will have bugs. In solutions also, if you go and see, you will have bugs. So for one case you can have many bugs, and for one bug you can have many solutions. In this way, your many to many relationship will be achieved. For the first time when you are listening to this, it will be a little confusing. Once we see in practical of how to achieve this, it will be very easier for you. Okay, so this is about your many to many relationship in Salesforce. As I said, it is a rare scenario, uh, which would be which in 95% it would be like lookup or master detail. In some scenarios, very rare scenarios where the customer will sell very clearly like these two objects need to have many to many. In that case, you could achieve using junction objects. Okay. Next, if you see the fourth kind of relationship is hierarchical. So in this hierarchical relationship, we call it as a special relationship, self-lookup relationship, and available only on the user object. Okay, there is one object called user in Salesforce. Whatever details you gave it when you are signing up for the org, all those details will be captured. Your name, your role, profile, what is your email ID, phone number, time zone. All those user-related details will be captured and it will be kept in this particular stand object called user object. In this object alone, this hierarchical relationship is possible, which is a special relationship. We call it as a self-lookup. Okay. If you search for this relationship in any other object, standard object or custom object, it will not be visible. It will be visible only on the user object. Okay. So why is the need for this? What is the need for this relationship, hierarchical relationship? If you see, think of like I will be showing on your object, on your for example Delanta, for you we would have created one org for your name, right? So if you go and see your details on the user object for in your Salesforce instance, you will have one field called manager, because any company, let it be a one man company or let it be a 10-member company or a big multinational company, all companies will have at least one supervisor and one employee, right? Employer employee, or one supervisor and employer, manager employees, like that hierarchy will be there in whichever company you take. So keeping that in mind, Salesforce has given like any user will have his supervisor, so automatically the user will be related to manager. So who is manager? He is also a user in Salesforce, right? You are on a record for on the user object. Delanta is a record. Your manager will also be another user who will also be another record in that particular user object. So if you see that particular object, automatically you are being related to your manager. So one user is being related to another user. So in that one particular object itself, there is a relationship which we call as self lookup. Okay, that's what we call special relationship self lookup, which is available only on the user object. So by default, you will have the Salesforce itself would have given one hierarchical relationship on the user object, where every user will be related to their manager. Okay, so they can have a look on who is the manager. They can have a look. Okay, what if like let's assume one scenario wherein which when I have joined the company was a startup company. The team size was small. Let's assume like it is a small team having 5-member team where we had only one supervisor. Over a period of time, like after 2 years, the team has grown into a 50-member team where with one the same supervisor, and the supervisor is not feeling like he's not having a good hold on all 50. He could not have a good hold on or a control on all 50. So he's thinking of having team leads for 10 every 10 member, and those team leads should be reporting to the manager. So a new hierarchy is coming in, right? All this time I was reporting directly to my supervisor, but now there is a new hierarchy called team lead, in which I would be relating to the team lead, and the team lead in turn will be directing or reporting to my supervisor or manager. Okay, so in this kind of scenario, if you want to bring in a custom hierarchical relationship based on the organizational or hierarchical changes in your organization, if you want to bring in the hierarchy, new custom hierarchy in your particular object, then it is possible using this hierarchical relationship. In the earlier releases and all, it is not possible to create a custom hierarchical. Whatever the standard hierarchy which the Salesforce has given, you could only change the name of, for example, you would be having one manager field. You could only change the name of that manager. For example, today if X is your manager, tomorrow you could change Y as the manager. That's all it is possible. It was possible. Now in the recent release, Salesforce has made an availability thinking of this scenario into consideration. Like what if like if at all there had been an organizational change, so if there is a need to bring in a custom hierarchy inside your organization, in that scenario you could have a custom hierarchical relationship using this. This is possible. Okay, on the user object it is self-lookup actually. So we could see that in practical. So these are all the four kinds of, again, this is a very rare scenario. As I said, if at all if there had been an organizational change, only you will be going for this, correct? If not, you will not even bother about the hierarchical relationship. So many to many itself is a rare scenario, and hierarchical is a one-time activity, and it is a very rare scenario. Until and unless there are some organizational changes, you will go and create a custom hierarchy on the user object. Okay, we will see in practical about how to do this, achieve this on four in practical. Fine.
Ganesh, this hierarchical relationship is also called as self relationship.
Hierarchical relationship is also called as
Self relationship.
self lookup.
Self lookup, yeah.
Yeah. So yesterday, this was the relationship. Sorry, this was the application which we created, right? HR and employee was the object which we created yesterday with a tab so that it got linked to our application, and we created few fields called employee name, email, phone, created by in the list view we made it available for all the things, and we created new records. This what was has been done had been done till yesterday. Application object tab fields and records. Now we will see about relationships. For relationships, as I said, you need to have few more objects, right? So we need one more object for lookup and another object for master detail. So let's go and create two more new objects. So we have created one new relationship, new object called PM. Okay. Let's go and create one more new object. Okay, see here, we have created one more new object called paste. Let's go to PM, and here now if you go and see in employee, for example, employee is the parent, right? So if we go and see inside employee, see here, there is no relationship. We are not able to find the. I have opened the record called the Dilata record. Now, if I if I see anywhere, I am not able to find Dilata PF or Dilata payslip. I am not able to find, because we had to create relationships. Once we create relationship from PF to this employee object, automatically whatever record which I click on and if I view, I will be able to see the PF related details of the employee here itself and the payslip related details here itself. Okay. So how to achieve that? So I will go to my child object. Which is my child object here? PF is one child, wherein which we are going to create one lookup from PF to employee and another. child is payslip, where in which we are going to create a master detail from payslip to employee. Okay. So first, let's go to PF. So we are saying of relationship is actually relating to objects in Salesforce. Okay, but how to technically achieve that? If you see, you will be creating a relationship field only from the child object. If you create one relationship field to the parent object, then you would be able to create that particular object. You will be able to achieve that relationship. So I am going to the child object and going to custom fields and relationships. Click on new. As like yesterday, how you created fields, we are going to have. So yesterday I could have said like I'd be explaining about this section in the data area, right? So today we will be seeing about this lookup relationship. See here, yesterday we saw about checkbox, currency, date, and these are all the various data types provided by Salesforce. So when you are creating fields, you would have to take into consideration and try to fit in your business requirement in somewhere of the data types which Salesforce has provided. So if you go up, there is one section called for relationships for lookup, master detail, and for external lookup relationship. These two were the ones which were available earlier. In the recent release, they have made this external relationship. So, as I said, like if you want to create an relationship between your object and another any other table from some other system, if you want to create, okay, we can think of like the payslip details are present in SAP system, and if you want to create a relationship from say employee object or which is being present in Salesforce to the table which is in SAP, okay, in this scenario you would be creating one external lookup relationship, so that was possible. So if you have any external objects or any other table in some other system, and if you want to create relationship from Salesforce to that system, it is possible to create using external lookup relationship. Okay, so now we are trying to create a lookup relationship from PF to employee, right? So click on lookup relationship and click on next. It will ask which object you want to relate. So we are trying to relate from PF to employee, right? So select employee. Employee, you see there are two types of employee. So we will have to get confirmation before. So the second employee is this. Okay, to which object you are going to relate and click on next. So next it will ask the field name which you are going to give for this relationship field actually. Okay, well that could be the same name of your that object itself, or you could give us a different name also. So I am giving the same as name as that. The child relationship name system itself will generate. This is actually the API name. In SOQL queries, in here we call as SOQL, Salesforce Object Query Language in Salesforce, as you would have heard about SQL, right, Structured Query Language. So Salesforce has adapted some few things from there, and they have created the query language in Salesforce is Salesforce Object Query Language. Okay, so in this scenario, now you would be having this child relationship name will be taken into picture when you are framing queries over there. Okay, so if you click on select this checkbox, always your lookup will be required. But as we have seen the difference in lookup relationships, every having a parent is optional, right? So it is not mandatory like you need required. Click on this required. So by default it will be enabled this. Do not make any changes for this. You could have this. If at all in future if you want to delete any record on the lookup record that is part of the relationship, then you could, if you click this, in future it will allow you to delete any parent or child records from your system. Okay. So by default, but all these things came in the recent release. If at all if there is an exceptional scenario, in that case you will come back and again edit and then make these changes, and then you will revert back again to the same which has been already present. Okay. So next, click on next. Now again it will ask for security. For now, give it visible to everybody. Next it will ask for page layout. By default it will be enabled. Click for that also next. Now it will ask for the relationship name. By default it would be PF. Related list label, whether it needs to be appended to all the layouts. So now if you see, like, we have created a new relationship field called, from this particular object PF, we have created a relationship to employee. See, lookup to employee. Okay. Now let's go to this particular object and let's create one. See here, it will show a search like icon. So all relationship fields in the edit page, this is what we call it as edit page. In the edit page, relationship fields will have a icon. See here in employee, if I go and select new, there will not be any such icons. All these are normal fields. Okay. But this is actually a relationship field. So relationship fields on edit page will have a search icon, employee lookup. So from this object itself, we can look up for the records present in that particular object. What are all the records we have in employee object? Two records, Delanta, Ganesh, right? So from this PF object, we have created a relationship to employee. After this, if you try to create any record on this PF object, we could actually, if you click on the search icon, it will show all the records available in that particular object. So from this object itself, we are looking up for the values or records present in that particular object. So only look up relationship. So I'm going to click on Delanta. So and I will click on save. Now if you see, the PF related details has been generated. Automatically we gave the auto number field. Do you remember when we are creating this particular object, it asked for the first field. The first field we gave it as PF number and we gave it as auto number. The starting number was 1 and the format was like this. So automatically once you click on save, the auto number will be generated. And see here, employee is Delanta. Whose PF details are this? These are the Delanta PF related details. See, this was the relationship field, right? So once you save it, see here it is showing as a hyperlink. It will show as a hyperlink. Once you move your mouse on that, it will hover over and give all the object related details. It will give you once you move your mouse on that particular object. So this confirms like this is a relationship, and there is a relationship between your object and that thing, employee. Okay, all employee related details will be given. If you click on, once you click on view, automatically it will redirect you to that particular object. Or if you click on this Delanta, it will take you to this employee related details. If you wish to see full details of Delanta, once from this object, if you click on this, it will take you to that particular object. Why? Because there is a relationship. Now there is a relationship between PF and employee. Okay. Now if we go and see the record in parent object, see here, there would be a new related list. Till now there were only 3 related lists, right? So now after creating the relationship, if you go and see, open the parent object record, there will be his Delanta PF details will be available here. Here itself I am able to see. Okay, click on this. So it should be able to see the records. So this way you can confirm, like, we have established a relationship between PF and employee lookup relationship. Okay. The same way we are going to establish a relationship, a master detail relationship from payslip and employee. How to achieve that? From the child object, we are going to create one custom relationship field called master detail, as we did for lookup. Here, to which object we are going to relate? Employee. Next, if you give here also, we can have the same thing. So allow reparenting. In future, if you want to change the parent of any child, at that scenario, exceptional scenario, you could come back, edit, and if you make this enabled, you could change the parent of that particular child. Okay, again, these are exceptional cases. So see here, have you noted it, noted very carefully when we are creating lookup relationships? There, it allowed us to select, right? The security and sharing feature of the child, the system allowed us to select. I made it visible for everyone. But now see here, by default, system has taken the parent object security and sharing. When I was explaining the difference between lookup and master detail, I told, right, The security and sharing of parent will be automatically inherited from your child. I told right. So this is the setting. Automatically it has been inherited from the parent. Okay. Click on next. The layout page will come. By default it will be enabled. Do not disturb. Also the relationship employee layout related list which needs to get updated with all the parent things. Also do not delete that also. So now here if you see like from this object we have created a master detail to employee. Okay. Now if you go and see in this page list, so create again this would be a search icon. But see here it would be a mandatory field. But in payslip if you in PF if you see in PF you see it is not mandatory. So having parent is optional in lookup. But in master detail every parent every child should have a parent. Okay. So all employees need to have payslips. So this is required. But in PF it is not required. Why? Because this is lookup, this is master detail. Having parent is optional in lookup. Every child should have a parent in master detail. That's why this mandatory field has come. Okay. So next click on this. We are going to have a payslip for Delanta. Click on save. So we have created a payslip for Delanta also. Now if you go to the parent object record and click on here, now you see here there would be a new relationship. So from this from here itself I am able to see Delanta records. Correct? PF and payslip. So from here itself I am able to see PF and payslip related details. So this would be the why, because if you see I have achieved a relationship from parent to child. Okay. So now this is the parent object, right? So employee is the parent object. Your PF and payslip is the child objects. PF is related lookup relationship and payslip is a master detail relationship to this employee object. So now what if like if I delete this particular record, parent record if I am deleting, Delanta is the parent record for these two records, right? So let's check and see what happens if we delete the parent record. So what we saw in the overview, uh, in lookup, if you delete parent, it will not delete child. But in master detail, deleting parent, it will delete child. Correct? So now I am trying to delete the parent record in the parent object. So now if I delete this, so I have deleted my parent record. So now if you go and see in lookup, still the record is there. But in payslip, if you go and see, the record will not be there. So automatically once you have deleted the employee, the payslip of that employee also has gone. So deleting parent will delete child. So deleted records, it will be available on the recycle bin for 15 days. See here, for a period of 15 days, Salesforce keeps all the deleted records in the recycle bin. After that, it will permanently get deleted. So before that, you could restore it back from your recycle bin. So see here, it is showing the parent record. It is present here. So once you delete the parent record, automatically the child record gets deleted in your master data relationship. So once if I after this again, if I try to restore it, okay, now see here again it is getting, I have restored it. Now if you see, go and see in payslip, automatically once you restore the parent, the child also will get restored. Okay. So this is actually lookup and master detail relationship. Deleting parent will not delete in lookup, and deleting parent will delete the child in master detail. So this is what about lookup and master detail. How to achieve or establish relationship from the child object. You will create a relationship field to the object to which you are going to relate. So from PF, we created a relationship field for lookup relationship field from PF to employee and from payslip to employee. So this is how you will achieve relationships in between objects in your application. Okay. So next, if you see like many-to-many relationship, for many-to-many relationship, as I said, you need to have one custom object, right? So let's try to have one more custom object, or let's see see here on sales object, sales process. If you see, there is call center. If you see, there are some cases and solutions. So I have one custom object called bug. Okay, bugs is my custom object which I have created. So from this particular object, I have created one master detail to case object and another master detail to solution object. The same way which we did for payslip. From payslip we created one master detail to employee object, right? The same way from this custom object called bugs, I am going to create two master detail relationships, one to the standard object case and another to the standard object solution. Okay, now if I open any case, once you do this, I have created one custom object called bugs. From that I have created two master detail. So now this bug will act as junction object between cases and solutions. Once you do this, automatically cases and solutions will be in your many-to-many relationship. Okay, by default, once you do this, your cases and solutions will be in your many-to-many relationship. Okay, you agree? So now, once this could be imagined only, as I said. So for confirmation, how could you do this? If you see, if you go to case and open any case and see, now in the details, see here bugs will be there. Also in solutions, if you open any solution or the related solution of the case, there also you would be able to find bugs. So with this, you can confirm like cases and solutions are in many-to-many relationships. On both object, you are able to see on both object you are able to see bugs, right? So custom object, your bug is junction object between cases and solutions. So now cases and solutions are in many-to-many relationship. This is how you will achieve a many-to-many relationship in Salesforce. In the same way, you could also create one custom object and try to establish a master detail between any other two objects so that your custom object will act as a junction object and the remaining other two objects will be in many-to-many relationship. Okay, so this is about the third type of relationship in Salesforce, which is a many-to-many. Next one, if you see hierarchical relationship, I told it is a special lookup or a self lookup, which is will be available only on the user object, right? So
Can
now,
we create one junction of?
sorry, Lata.
Can we create one junction of?
Yeah, no problem. It would be the same way. Like, okay, we have created a custom object. Now we have to make this as a junction object. So for that, we need to create two master detail relationships. So now I have created one master data relationship with employee object from this particular junction object. So what I should need to do, I need to do create one more master data relationship. Okay, two master data, one to employee and another to payslip. See here. Now if you open employee also it will be there. In payslip also it will be there. Okay, now your employee and payslip objects are in many-to-many relationship. Okay, now after this, in this same junction object, if I try to create one more master detail, it will not allow. See here, it would be gradable. Why? Because as I said, from one object you can create maximum two master detail alone, right? So we have already created two master detail from this particular object. So no more master detail is possible. So this acts as a junction object between your employee and payslip. So your employee and payslip, you go and see in both objects, you will be able to see the related distance junction object. Now these two now employee and payslip are in master data relationship. Sorry, many to many relationship. Okay, this is how you create a junction object. And once you create junction object, to whichever two objects you have created the relationship, those two objects would be in many to many, and you can only imagine this. For confirmation, you can go and check inside that object whether we have a related list and the relationship is present. Once we have that, we could confirm that both employee and payslip will be in your many to many relationship. Okay. This is how you could create a junction object and establish a relationship, many to many relationship among objects. Next, if you see here, uh, this is the custom object. Junction object is the custom object which we created, right? So here, if you go and create a new relationship, see here, you will be able to find lookup, master detail, and external lookup. But here it will not show hierarchical. Hierarchical relationship will not be displayed in any of the standard object or custom object. Okay. But if you go and select setup, and on the left side if you click on user, under build user, click on fields. You come down, all these are the standard fields which Salesforce itself has provided. You come down, user object custom fields, click on new. See here you will be able to find hierarchical relationship. But lookup, master detail, and your indirect relationship, that would not be available here. And here hierarchical would not be available. This is our custom object. So as I said, hierarchical relationship is a special relationship which will be available only on the user object. On user object you will not be able to find other relationships, and on standard object or custom object you will not be able to find hierarchical relationship. Okay. The user related details, if you want to see the left side, if you click on user, under administer manage users, if you click on users, it will take you to all users list, and this will show all the users in your company. So now let's go to Ganesh. So this is my user account. So whatever details I have created when I am signing up this, when I have signed up the org for this thing, all those details will be there. Name, email, username, so the time, wherein is the time zone, the language which I am using. So all these related details it will be available here. So this is where from user object only it is being faded. So whatever you see in Salesforce, it would be kept in one object only. Okay, without backend source, nothing would be visible in Salesforce. So whatever details you see, there would be an object which would be kept inside back of the Salesforce. But whether that could be the standard which Salesforce itself could have done, or the custom things which you are going to develop for your application and show it to the customer. But you need to have one container or an object to be in place. So all the user related details will be kept in the user object. Okay. So that user object has many standard fields like this, and by default it will have one uh, hierarchy relationship field. As I said, all users will have a hierarchy relationship. See here, manager. It will have a field called manager. Once you edit this, you come down. See here, my manager, and it will have a lookup window. So who is my manager? He is also one user, right? He is also, according to Salesforce, he is also one user. So Ganesh is also one user. His manager is also one user. User itself is getting related to another user. So that's what we call it as a self-lookup special kind of relationship. Okay, by default, this manager field is a standard hierarchy field which Salesforce itself would have given. See here, Salesforce itself would have given. Now, if at all, if there is a need to create one new relationships, we would be able to do so in this custom relationship area. Okay, so now let's assume like I'm trying to relate this particular relationship. I'm trying to establish. So now I will have only manager field with standard hierarchy with Salesforce as given. Okay. Now I will go here, click on new, and click on hierarchical relationship. Click on next. So I have created a new relationship called hierarchy relationship on Salesforce. Okay. Now if you go and check and refresh on user object and check, you will have a new thing called premium. So if you go click and edit, you will be able to see self-lookup. So it will show whether I'm able to see. Okay. So this is the custom hierarchy field which I have created. So now Ganesh will be reporting to this team lead, and in turn he would be reporting to this manager. So like this you can create custom how much ever custom relationships you want, you will be able to create. So this is how you could establish a custom hierarchy on the user object. And this relationship will not be available on any other standard or custom objects. Okay.
So, Ganesh, if you want to have this type of relationship for accounts, right? For example, you can have head office, and then below that there might be another level, and then below that. those levels, there might be another level. How do you do that?
That's what that depends on the requirement. If you give the requirement, I would be able to say whether to have a lookup or master detail. Can you give us your scenario and requirement?
Like when you have custom, I mean, you have customers where they have the head office, right?
Okay.
Head office might be in New Delhi, and then reporting to the head office, there might be some other offices somewhere else, right? Some other city. And below that, there might be uh, some other offices, like sales hierarchy, like a territory hierarchy.
Okay. So by using customer you can have it in a separate object, and your head offices you can have it in a separate object. And from customer, if you create a relationship from customer to head office, your customer and head office will be linked to each other. So once you try creating any record on customer, and the search icon will be available, so that you could look up for the fields in head office. So the customer can select all the values in the head office. So you need to have two objects, customer and head office, and relate the customer to head office. So in turn, head office will be related to your sales. So sales would be another object. So if you keep that as another object, from head office you would be able to create a link between from head office to your sales.
So
Okay.
if you want to have a third level, how do you?
Third level, it is also possible. If you wish to have from one object, you can create 25 lookup relationships from one object itself.
Okay.
So from customer itself, I can relate to head office, I can relate to another customer, I can relate to sales, I can relate to anything. So that depends on requirement. Once as per the requirement, you could do. So, but from one object, you could get maximum of 25 relationship that is possible. So you can drill down to any number of levels. So that should not be a concern if you take as lookup. But in master detail, only two master detail. From one object, you can create two master detail to another object, and from that object, you can create another two master detail, and from that object, you can create two master detail. So like this, the chaining will continue. Like that, you could do. But from one object, you can create maximum of two master detail. The same way, lookup is from one object, 25 lookup relationships. So from that 25, you can create another 25 from each step 25. So like this, you can start establishing and drill down, start going to any level you want from in both lookup and master stage. Okay. So like whatever I have shown here, it is for like single object, one field, one kind, one relationships. I have shown how to establish it. In the PDF which I have shared with you, if you look at, they would have given many fields, many kinds of relationships, many objects should be related among each other, so that the real-time HR application, how it is going to be in picture, the real-time business scenario would they would have fitted in. So once you practice that, you would have better understanding. It will take some time for you to create other objects and fields, but after that, once you follow the steps which they have given, at the end, you would have a very good understanding on relationships.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, Devata. So try practicing that. So till whatever we have seen now, application, object, tab, fields, records, and relationships. Try creating few objects, fields, and try creating relationships among them. First, initially, you could create by whatever you have stated, like you ask for customer, right? In the same example, you could first try with creating a custom object, and then follow that PDF which I have given to you. And before we start with the next session would be on security and sharing. Okay, so you are going to develop an application for whom it would be visible in a
You
company.
said that roll-up summary. You were going to show the roll-up summary of it.
Roll-up summary is there. Roll-up summary we would be saying that formula field, validation rule, your
Okay.
roll up summary, all those we will be seeing in a separate session.
Okay.
Okay.
So
Now,
next session is security, or
sorry,
next session is security?
yeah, security and sharing. So if you are going to
Okay.
develop an application, for whom it should be visible. In an organization, there will be CEO and there will be VPs, managers. So to each hierarchy, what level of data should be visible. So that we will be seeing. I told right, be a system admins or developers, we would be able to see everything, all application on the setup side, left side, everything is visible to us. But in real time, this is not the case. For sales representative, only sales application will be visible. For BPO employees or call center employees, only that particular application will be visible. For HR employees, when they log in, only HR application should be made visible. So how to provide that restriction inside Salesforce? That we will be seeing. Okay.
Okay, Ganesh. Are you available like regular time?